Hello and welcome to another recording of Subnautica. This will be the final for now. I'm more than happy to do a complete playthrough. This is just a wrap up to let you know what I've been up to. So pretty much I've just played 10 hours of just trying to go back and forth, collecting resources. If you remember, if you've been watching the series, you'll remember I've been hearing lightning and thunder, and I'm like, what is that? It's actually a volcanic vent. I found it by accident when I was swimming between waypoints. Oh, not waypoints, sorry. I'm not sure what you'd call it. But when I find a specific area that has a resource that I need, I'll actually put a beacon down. So if it's something like, if it's something like a deep sea vent, I'll see if I can find it. DK vent. Okay, so there I've actually got resources down there that I just want to pick up the resources and then leave it. That's ship fragment. The vent. Okay, so the vent's over there, so we'll go for a quick swim. So pretty much, what I'll do is I'll use my home pod as a reference point, as a point number 1, and then I'll have the beacon, whether it be the island or the vent or all three of those, and then I'll have a third point. And then what I'll do is I'll grid it off. So I'll swim from there to the cave, or to the vent, from the vent to the cave, and from the cave back to the pod. And I'll use that triangle as a grid point. And what I'll do is I will swim backwards and forwards, left and right, all the way through here, picking up every single resource I can. And then once I'm finished with that, I will deactivate one of the beacons and activate another one, and then I'll set up a grid between that. Actually, I want to get this puffer fish. Oh, my inventory's full. Awesome. Okay. So that I've collected every single resource there is. Now, this number 2 caves is something where I couldn't actually pick up all the resources there. And also it was very dark, even in daylight. It goes very deep and dark, so I had to go and pick up my torch, so I could flashlight, so I could actually check out the caves. So once I've shown you this vent, I will swim back to my main base, which I've built, and I'll show you what I've quickly done there, just to make it very easily accessible for all my resources. So these things, they are constantly attacking me, but I'm pretty fast and can get away from them. So I'll just quickly get up to the surface here, and straight back down. So this here is a volcanic vent. Every now and again, you'll have a surge of steam come up and attack. So you can see here there's resources here, the little rocky outcrops, and the further down you go there's more resources. But the thing is, if you don't have the proper equipment, you can actually be steamed to death. Okay, it shouldn't take this long for a steam vent to... There we go. You can see it. Oh, okay, so it doesn't actually come up this high. There you go. Or maybe it has a super... That's right, I haven't got the inventory part. That's going to fall straight in. Here we go. If I swim through it... Ah, no, okay. So at this height, the heat doesn't actually do any damage to you. But you can see that this is a resource-rich area. Also, there's a geothermal power supply you can build. Am I on its back? I think it was dragging me around a bit. Right. So I'm just going to come back to the base. So volcanic vent like that, so it's about 320 meters from the pod, and you'll find it as you swim. I think it's between this and the ship. Yeah, so it's between the pod and the ship, so it's within that triangle. That's how I found it. I used the back of the ship, the front of the ship, and my pod. I just kept going from the pod to the ship, across the ship, back to the pod, and then I went from the pod to about midship. And then I just kept going backwards and forwards through all the way through here. I just kept finding a ship fragment. I found pod number 4. I found the steam vent. I found all sorts of things. So if you're finding it hard to find things, just create a whole heap of beacons and just drop them in random spots and name them. So what I've done here, you can see I've actually gone to each island, and each island has a mountainous surrounding with one beachfront. So I've dropped the beacon right at the access point of the island where you can only get in through the beach. And then the other island, I think might not have, oh, there's island number 1 over there. So with number 2, you can actually swim under it and into an underground cave within the island itself, but if you haven't got enough oxygen, you could actually suffocate. So what I've done here, where am I? There it is I've built a very simple structure, and all of these lockers here, every single one of these has titanium in it. It's a very common building material, and because I wasn't sure how many I need, I've actually made the ingots. So all through here is just excess resources. These 3 are empty for now. That one's got meds. This one's a spare one as well. This is coral with extra coral, and as you can see as you come through here, what I've done is I've checked the wiki to see what resources there are available. I've just made 1 locker for each one, and then what I did for between swimming between the ship and the pod and going backwards and forward is I've tried to fill each of these up with as much as I can. There is quite a lot of cave sulfur. There's a lot of caves or a lot of those little fish. Now, it's very common to find it. It's hard early game, but once you start realizing where to look and how to explore, you'll find a lot of cave sulfur. With the salt, again, I could have done the same thing here and just had a whole heap of salt, but I've actually been using the salt to make cured fish, so I've always got a backup of food. These here, for now, I don't even know what to do with them at the moment. I think they can only be put into the aquariums and they hatch, but I've just got a whole heap of eggs. Whenever I found an egg, I just collected it and I just shoved it in here, and I've kept them in their breed of category. I'm not sure which eggs are, and this one's just the single eggs. Again, I don't know what to do with them. I haven't got the blueprints for I keep forgetting the name of the damn thing. I go past it. Oh, here it is. The alien containment. So this actually fills up pretty much most of one of these rooms, and it's just a large aquarium that you can actually put fish in and breed them. I think you've got to put specific plants in there as well, so that the fish can feed off it, and therefore you can breed the fish. So you can see that I've actually done a bit of everything. Equipment is just stuff that you can take with you, and as you can see I've done I think I had about 15 or 20 beacons, and I've actually used most of them. So anything that only takes up 1 little square, 4 squares, and because you got that extra scout down the side, I've actually put those in here. And equipment that's anything larger than 4, and possibly those other 2 segments. I've actually got 2 lockers full of meds. I've actually got 2 med cabinets here, and yeah, so I've got a whole heap of resources. It's pretty good once you get to this level of the game where you can actually start keeping resources, a lot of resources. It's pretty good. It's easy to maintain. Most of these are full to the brim. That's all the main resources that you can collect by hand. These ones here are the secondary. So 2 quartz make a glass. And then on the other side, it's not named because I haven't used it for anything, but it's backup. I've got extra glass in here. I've got enamel glass. So what you need for this is a glass and a stalker's tooth, and that will make enamel glass. Now it's really hard to find these teeth. They could be just about anywhere. So anywhere you can see stalkers playing around with metal, you'll find one of these, because apparently the metal breaks off their teeth. But you can also build an area out of, let's have a look. Let's go back up. Out of these containment tubes. You just layer them on top of each other, and you can actually build a enclosure, put the stalkers inside with some metal, and you can just keep going back in there and collecting all the teeth. It was pretty good. I saw that on another YouTube channel. It was pretty interesting to see them how to do that sort of thing. So pretty much everything in here, lubricant is made from the vine's glowing green seeds. Fiber mesh is made from the vine itself. Copper wire is made from 2 copper. So you can see I've actually got quite a bit of excess materials here. The reason I've got so much is because I still don't have all the blueprints for everything. I don't have a modification center. I don't even know how to make one of those. And then you can get extra oxygen, faster swimmers, and then you can upgrade your propulsion cannon to a repulsion cannon. I'm not exactly sure how that works. In here, I've just got a basic fabricator setup. These lockers just have a few extra bits and pieces in there. So this is basically everything electrical that I've made. This is empty batteries. Batteries that are not charged anymore. You don't have to throw them out. There is a display thing you can build. You put the batteries in there and it recharges. I've got my radio set up in here. And over here I've got water. And again, all these fish will become water. These are seeds I've collected off island number 2. Excess seeds. I've got my cured fish in here. So this will never rot. And I've got a whole heap here. And I actually had an aquarium set up right here. So that for when I came in, made my fish, if I had no salt to cure them and I've had enough fish cooked to eat, I just put them in the aquarium, which is a smaller sort of version of the containment field. Here we go, the aquarium. So it basically takes up that entire wall. It blocked off the radio, couldn't actually access it, but it holds 8 fish. And pretty much what you do is, if you're hungry and you haven't caught any fish, you just come in here, grab them out of the aquarium, cook them, and then go and catch more fish later on. But whenever I go out, I always try to have 3 or 4 fish, whether it be the bladder fish or these fish, but I try to keep as many of these as I can, just so I can have excess water and excess food. And then these, I think it's more, no, we'll have to be closer. What's going on? Excess seeds, and this is resources, I think. Yeah, excess resources. So the quartz, copper, lead, salt, iron, all this is excess. It's all stuff I've got full lockers of, and this is just, again, just close by, so that if I need to make anything here, I don't have to run out there to get it. If I can just get the if I can just get the excess stuff from here. So you can see that I have just in that one room alone, I have enough lockers to do all the basic resources, except for the organic material, because that rots. You have to use that straight away. Then in the tunnel leading up, I've just got basic excess resources, basically iron, because it's a very common material used for a lot of different things. And then in here I've got second level, and then in here I've just got extra storage for processing. This was just an experiment, just to see if I could build and how to build. It's pretty straightforward and easy. I'll actually go outside and build something quickly. These are plants I got from the island number 2. I just planted them to see what I could do. Like, a lot of them are quite useless. These just sit here and do nothing. They just exist. These ones here are actual food. So you can see you get 10 food and 10 water. So these things constantly regrow, so you can pick them clean, come back a few minutes later and they're fully grown again. And you can just keep picking them and eating them. So there's 3 plants apparently you can do that with, but this is the only one I happened to find. I think the other one I might have accidentally thrown the seed out or eaten it by accident when I was trying to clear out a spot for more resources. So this is a really basic setup. You'll see here that this wall looks different from this wall. That's because whenever you build a large structure, the tidal current within the game lore and graphics will cause fractures and stress fractures. So you've actually got to reinforce the metal. So this one is a reinforced wall. You can see I've done a few. I've just reinforced the walls because the actual wall broke and the entire structure flooded. So I had to actually reinforce the wall. Then I had to grab my repair tool, repair the damaged walls, and then once that happens, as long as the walls are repaired and the structural integrity is fixed, you're actually good to go with just growing your base bigger and better. So what you need a lot of titanium to build this. You don't need the ingots, you just need the basic titanium, and I think it was lithium. As you can see, I've got table coral and coral tubes, so these both are full. And then I've got the excess coral out there because that can be used to make other things that are common need. Where did I? No, I didn't get a ruby. I think the rubies are actually on island 2 or in the deep ocean. Where is my lithium? There's lead, gold, quartz, coal, silver. I need lithium. There it is. So I'll just take a few. Okay, we'll quickly go out and I'll show you how easy it is to build. So I've got to choose the build tool. Okay, number 1. So this thing is a scanning room, and I don't quite understand how it works because it says it will scan for, here it is, locates resources and wrecks within range, but I've built it, nothing's happened. You can pick these cameras out and move them, but they don't seem to do anything. So I'm gonna probably have to do watch someone else's YouTube channel to see how these actually function. So let's have a look. I'll reinforce this structure. So you got the reinforcement, 3 titanium, 1 lithium, and as you can see, wherever it will go, it will light up green. So I think it's over here. It's red. See, it won't actually go there because I believe it's because I've actually got something on the wall on the inside. So you can actually put the reinforcement on the outside, or you can have something on the inside against the wall. So on this one here, I couldn't do any reinforcements anywhere on it because all throughout the interior I've got lockers. So you can see it just goes red, red. Yeah, so it's all red because I can't actually do anything. And you can see here I didn't have anything against the wall apart from the other side where I've got the fabricator. So I couldn't reinforce that. I don't know if I can reinforce this. I've never tried. No, can't reinforce it. It's not an actual hollowed out structure. It's an actual thing. So we'll come here and not sure why I can't reinforce that. I've got nothing built against the wall. Okay, so just point, hit your left mouse, and it will build it. It's that simple. But if you ever want to expand your base, actually, I don't think you can reinforce this because it's going to go up anyway. Oh no, you can. I'm extremely confused. Because as you can see, you can connect these pods through this side. So you got 8 of these panels, and on the ones across, on the cross, you can actually connect more pods to it. But these ones on the side, you can't actually connect pods to it. So I don't know why I can enforce this one, but not that one. So let's have a look. I will go down and back, and I will try to add another multi-purpose room. Let's like swim away. Okay, so I can't add it here. I can add it there even though I've reinforced it. Well, there you go. That's weird. So as you can see here, they've got support beams that come down to a certain level. They won't come out this side because it's too far down. So I can only assume that the more support beams it has, the more structurally sound it will be, and the less of these reinforcements you need. That's only a guess. I'm also guessing that the longer the leg is, the less stability your pod has. Now, you can also build the pods in such a way so that they actually stack. There's two different stacks. There's this one where they don't actually connect, they just stack on top of each other, but if you bring it down slightly, it will overlap. Oh, I ran out of titanium. Eek. Better go back in there and grab a few more. I'll show you what happens. So there's an internal, external, what do we call it? Flower bed. Now, I only grew these ones here because when they blow out the bubbles, you'll see that my oxygen actually increases. So so somehow it sucks the oxygen out of the water into your swimsuit. These things are just other plants I was testing. The acid mushrooms, you can continuously pick them and they'll just regrow. So if you ever want to make a whole heap of, I think it might be batteries, if I'm not mistaken, you can just keep growing the acid mushrooms.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Okay, so let's take a whole heap of this and let's go back out there. Okay, so let's finish this off. So it's that simple. You just right click, choose what you want to do. So there's an external extras. So I've built a whole heap of the solar panels over here. So that will power the entire structure for now until I can find something else. I've got a spotlight in the middle here. It looks really good at night. It actually had a pretty good range. Then you got the exterior grow bed, which is got there. I'm not exactly sure how these work, but I've just put them on the connecting arms between each. Oh, okay. I must have gotten rid of that for some reason. I was probably just moving stuff around. But it helps the oxygen flow from one section to the next somehow. So we'll go back inside. And I'll quickly run down to the end. And you will see that there is no way to access the actual pod. So there's one above me. There's no way to get to it. So these hatches, you can see they're all the way around. You just go to interior, pick a ladder, and you can see there where it connects to the pod up the top. It won't connect to the bottom because there's nothing to connect to. But you can see you can put the ladder pretty much anywhere. So I just like to have it out of the way in the corner. And I'll just connect this. And then again, left click, it will build. You click on the ladder and you're in the next room up. And then you can just build more and more. So I actually had a column of them all the way down as far as I could go. I think it was 6 or 7 deep. And because I had no structural integrity, every single pod burst open and it just flooded. Everything got flooded. So you've really got to be careful. You build a bit, you reinforce as you go, and then you build a bit more. That way you just have that reinforcement as you build. And as you can see, each pod has 5 potential ladder slots to add onto. The bioreactor works well with the alien containment because basically if you have these in rooms next to each other, you grow the fish, and then as they breed you can actually just add them to the bioreactor, and the bioreactor will just continuously put out power as long as there's something in there. As I understand it actually works with plant-based stuff as well as fish. But if you have, just say, an aquarium here, your bioreactor in here, and another aquarium over there, you've got 2 aquariums for the power reactor, and you can just keep taking a couple of fish from there, a couple of fish from there, and every time you need a fish, you just grab one. And as far as I understand it, those fish will just keep breeding, because that's you can build the alien containment, you put a few fish and they'll just keep breeding. Now, as far as I understand, you're supposed to put the eggs in there.
Seek fluid intake immediately.
Did I grab any? No, I did not. So you can just keep constantly powering your own base. I want to make ingots, I want to make wires, I want to make water. You just keep powering your own base through one of those, but the problem is, I've been playing for... It would have to be over 24 hours. I'm pretty sure it was more than a day. And I still haven't been able to find the blueprints for the...
Vital signs stabilizing.
For the alien containment. So yeah, I'm more than happy to start a new gameplay and go do a playthrough all the way through. I did realise that when I got to the island in the last video, that I had basically been playing the storyline, which wasn't my intention. I didn't want to ruin the storyline for anyone that wanted to play it. I just wanted to show you the basics of the game, how to play the game, how to collect things. Now that I've got the blueprints, how to store things. And the blueprints are just found, where are we? Island. So the island, where is it? It'll be over here. So island number 1 has the alien base on it. And then island number 2, there was an actual. That's where you get the blueprints for this pod. They're actually built on the island, and within those pods, there's 3 different areas, and I think you can only access 2 of them. But in those pods, you will actually find the blueprints for a lot of the equipment. You can actually build. Let's see. Aquarium. Where is it? Miscellaneous. You can actually build these things. They don't actually do anything. They just kind of sit there and make it look pretty. I've actually built the vending machine. It's quite useless. All it gives you is glass. All it gives you is chips, which seem to dehydrate you. Gives you 4 food and... Oops, I took one by accident. So you can see here, 3 food minus 2 water. And that's all it gives you. I haven't actually built the coffee machine. I never got around to it, but let's have a look if I can.
You look like you could use some coffee.
I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, it's just... Am I supposed to... Oh. I'm not sure what happened just then. +4. So these things are quite useless. They're just there for decoration. They don't really do much of anything. This is for a nuclear reactor. You've got uranium you can collect. It's very rare, so I don't know how long the uranium lasts per usage. But I've got a few here. I found these inside the alien base once I got there. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward, simple. If you want me to explain anything else, I'm more than happy to do another video explaining certain aspects of the game. I did find out that to mine the... I thought you needed the laser cutter, but that only opens the ship fragments. So the doors, the ship fragments with rooms with locked doors, this will actually cut the doors open. It doesn't actually do any mining. So to mine those resources that have a clump of metal, you've actually got to build a metallic scuba suit. So it's pretty much like an Iron Man suit where you use that, and it's got a drilling arm that will just smash up the resources, and you can get like a half a dozen to a dozen pieces of material from each resource. So again, I'm more than happy to continue on with this, but I just thought I'd do this last video showing you that the basics of the game have been shown throughout my videos, and it's just a matter of exploring, finding, and then building this. You can build as many of these bases as you want, wherever you want, even on dry land. But I built it right underneath my pod because the pod is pretty much center map, and wherever you go, you just got to come back here. You can just build a room with a whole heap of lockers in it, and a fabricator, and a few power cells to make sure it functions, so that no matter where you are at the islands, off in the middle of nowhere, you can just build a pod and place things in it. And then once you get enough resources, just swim to the nearest base and build whatever you need to, and then go back out. Once you get the aquarium and the alien containment, you've got a constant supply of fish for food. So it's pretty good. The beginning of the game can be quite annoying because you've got to do things really fast. I found that I would constantly swim out. Oh, it's gone night time. Constantly be swimming out to the ship. Okay. So what I did is I used my pod as a base. I swam out to the front of the ship, and then I just kind of collected all the resources I could, and then I came back. And by the time I got from the front of the ship and I kept coming back this way, I had to stop collecting resources 6 or 7 times because I was constantly had a full bag of resources. The only thing I kept were about 5 items and 2 beacons. So I basically had 1 full run and 1 of stuff I constantly kept on me, and then the rest I'll just constantly be picking up resources and fish and things. And by the time I got back to here, let's just shut them up. Okay. By the time I got back here, I had to stop 7 times just to empty out my storage into the lockers that I had built down here once I had got those blueprints. And then I went across the ship and then back to from the back of the ship to the pod, and I just kept collecting everything, and that's how I just found all these different fragments. So you can see that I haven't actually got all my beacons activated, but you can see I've got quite a few beacons set up, life pods and everything that you find. Another way of setting up a beacon. The cameras here, again, I don't exactly know what they do. I've got to figure out how to turn them on. Maybe I haven't got the entire blueprint, but to make them function. But you can see all these blue markers are icons that I used as a reference point to make a grid to swim between. So yeah, once you can get the beacons, and again you can just find them in random ship fragments. You just make a couple of beacons. They're quite simple to make. Let's see if I've got the actually it should be towards the top. Beacons, there you go. Copper, ore and titanium. And as you saw earlier, I had a full locker of copper, plus I had some excess copper in another locker. So copper is very easy to find. Titanium is one of the easiest things to find. And you just build a whole heap of beacons. I found a deep cave, so that was like 100 meters down, 100 meters plus down, and then there was a cave network. And because I didn't have the oxygen to do that, I basically just placed a beacon there so that I can get back there when I've got that second level, third level actually. This one's the 3rd level oxygen tank. I've got the ingredients for it. I just don't have the modification center. I don't know why that's here if I can't build it. Because again, internal, there's no modification center. There's chairs, there's desks, storage, fabricator, bulkheads, external, and just rooms. But I have no way of building a modification center. So I'm not entirely sure how to do that. But once I do, I can get back to that deep cave. Hopefully have enough oxygen to swim around there and collect the resources. Because I find that the deeper the cave, the better the resources seem to be. I guess because it's harder to get to. A cave network is there. Again, I just ran out of space, but I had the beacon. But I saw there was a lot of resources in that general area, so I just dropped a pickup beacon so I could pick it up, and then once I got all the resources, collect the beacon again. and then just rename the beacons as you find something you need. So this is called beacon 1, 2, 3, and then just rename them to what you want. Pretty simple, straightforward. There is another life pod somewhere. Propose. I think again you'll find out during the gameplay, but there is certain things you got to look for. There is, where is it? This one? Yeah, 300 meters deep. So life pod number 19 is at 300 meters. I can't swim down that far because I will run out of oxygen by the time I get there and back up. So I've got to upgrade my tank, or I've got to find the ingredients for the Cyclops. As you can see, I found a few pieces. Again, these are just randomly scattered. I think every time you start a new game, they'll be randomly scattered. They won't be in the exact same spot every time. But yeah, it's pretty simple, straightforward. I'm just going to end the video here. Oh, what did I hit? What did I hit? I hit something wrong. F1. Hit F1 by accident, if you're wondering how they get that. What is that anyway? Oh, latitude and longitude. Oh, okay, so if you got a notepad and pen, okay, purely by accident, yeah, if you got a notepad and pen, you don't need to build beacons. You just write down the longitude and latitude, and then what you found, like a deep cave or a ship fragment, and there you have it. So if you hit F1, this pops up, and it pops back. So we'll just save the game, and I'll exit out. I just want to see exactly how long I've actually been playing. I'm pretty sure it will show up here. Okay, 1 day, 7 hours, 32 minutes. I think the last video I had about 6 hours of gameplay, so I've actually done 25 hours worth of gameplay since the last video, just purely collecting resources. And in doing so, I've continued through the storyline, finding more life pods and things like that. So, just to say, if you have any comments on making my channel better, I'm more than happy to take criticism, but please keep it civil in the conversation. I'm more than happy to try new games. These are the games I have available at the moment. These are the platforms I'm playing on at the moment, and I'm more than happy to try other platforms, other games. If you have any comments, just leave them below, and I'll see you in the next video. Why does that not work anymore?